What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Finally back recording videos after like 8 months of not doing anything with the channel. But I'm finally in my new setup, in my new apartment, got all my gear all sorted out, so I can actually start being 100% consistent and 100% back into YouTube and pumping out heaps of content for you guys. But anyway, today we are going over Bass House, and specifically just the breakdown and the build up. The Bass House breakdowns are super simple. There's not many elements into it, so let's just dive right into it. So first off, the breakdown. Like I said, Bass House breakdowns, they're super simple, but still need to be very powerful and help really build that tension up into your drop. The first thing we start with is a Reese bass. Now the Reese bass is super simple to make. This one I've got here is made within Vital. Just a couple of oscillators and a little bit of effects, and that's pretty much it. Very simple, but super powerful. On our first oscillator here, we've just got it set to the low-high fold with 16 voices. And then LFO1 routed to that oscillator just to help control a bit of movement. Then on oscillator 2 and 3, we've got them both set to the quad saw. Oscillator 1 just has the pitch set to 0. Pitch on oscillator 2 is set to -12. And then oscillator 3 is set to +12. We've got our LFO routed to oscillator 2 as well. You can see the LFO is just controlling the waveform of it and just changing it up to give it a bit of movement. Next up, we come onto the effects. We've just got a compressor set on multiband, some distortion set on soft clip with the drive at 9.9 dB. We've got an EQ just cutting some of the high end out. Then we've got a filter on the low high comb with the mix all the way up. You can see with all the effects off, we get this. It's still got a bit of that Reese bass sort of sound, but it's just way too gritty and way too much like a lead rather than a bass. So if you turn all our effects back on, you can hear it turns it much more into a Reese bass. Next, we come on to our vocals. This is just a vocal chop that I found on Splice, but thought it worked really well for this track. I tried to get some actual singing vocals or rapping or anything like that, just nothing worked as well for what I wanted as this did. And this one literally has no processing on, I just left it how it was. And then for our second channel of vocals, we got the same vocal, I just dropped it down 12 semitones. You can see together they make quite a powerful vocal. Next, we just got this synth that sort of acts like an impact, just help with the transition between the drop and the breakdown. And you can literally make these synths with any sound that you want. They're super simple. All it is some LFO automation. So you can see here within Vital, the LFO is just controlling the volume of this synth to bring it from super fast to super slow. And that is basically it for that sound. It just really helps with that transition along with a few impacts and whatnot. Next up, I just want to add a bit of atmosphere into this track. So I found this vocal sort of atmospheric sound on Splice. And all that does is just help fill up a bit of that space and create some atmosphere. Now, next up, we've got a lead. This is actually the lead from the drop, just been filtered out a bit and just one of the layers taken out of it. Now this lead isn't super prominent, but it just helps fill up some of that space and then helps a bit with the transition between the breakdown to the build up to the drop because they all are the same sounds. And finally, I just added in some claps, hats, some crowd noise, and then a few impacts and rises and whatnot. And that is basically it for our breakdown. Like I said, it's super simple. There's not many elements in it, but when everything comes together, it makes a really powerful breakdown. Now, onto our build up. The next thing we've got is just that same synthy LFO downlifter. Then we've got a riser, which was just made in Spire and then bounced down to a sample. Then we've got a small part of our vocal with a bit of delay on it. Then we've got that same atmospheric sort of vocal that I found on Splice. Then we've just got some impacts and risers. And then we've got our snares which just come in the second half of the build up. Next we just have like a dubsteppy sort of feel which just help bring those snares in. And then finally we've got our drop lead, which again is just filtered out a bit, and then as the build up rises it filters out even more. All I'm using to filter it out is a bit of an auto filter, some bass clips, easy washout, and then just some volume automation. So that, everybody, is how you make a bass house breakdown and build up. As you can see, super simple, not many elements, but once everything comes together, it makes it super, super powerful. So let's have a listen to what our final product sounds like. That's all we've got for today's video, guys. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, give the video a like, and let me know down in the comments what sort of stuff you want to see next, and I'll make sure to get round to as many of those videos as possible. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.